if you want to do a quick link and you want to grab a class, like your class page, maybe you have it from another teacher and you're going to edit it. When I got here, that's what I did, because luckily the person who taught before me was super organized, and so I was able to take what he used and I still use elements of it. So you would go back to, just sometimes you have to look back to the year. And so for me, I saved my last class for Intro to Calculus. I'm going to link 2 of my rosters right now because I still need to do that. So you would go, if you haven't created a class, if you need to do a new one, you can go right here and create a new class. And that would be starting completely from scratch if you want to. But if you're going to make one page and go to Google Classroom, that might be all you need to do. So once you've created that, you'll save it under any name you want. These, I always ignore them because I'm just going to link my one page to all of my classes anyway. So I have the one that I saved. So here's my class. I'm going to click on that.
Does everybody see how there's a garbage can? Can you just go back over this?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you turned on all the ones that were active, right?
What's that?
You turned on all the ones that were active, right? That's what it looks like.
Hold on one second.
Oh, because you put it in.
So these are the inactive classes. If you want to, yeah, but they're not going to be like throwing out old classes, right?
But everybody see how there's a garbage can there? If you go down, you'll see a solid garbage can. I think it was on your other one. So you can't delete any of those.
Okay. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
That one
Oh, yeah. So this one I can delete because I created it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, good point. The ones that are created by the school, we can't delete, but these, because those have the rosters, but the ones you create, if you wanted to, you can go delete. So I think I deleted like some older years, but I still have, these ones I made a copy so that I can reuse it. So I'm going to go back to, this was my year that I saved it under 2020, but I'm going to click on this class. And now this part is the part that always gave me trouble. And so like this is my class, right? I have this all set up from last year. But what I want to do to link a roster is I want to go over to Manage Class, and then I'm going to click on that. And then I'm going to say, let's hold on one second. Yes, Edit Roster. And now after I said Edit Roster, I want to go to, actually if you want to add a teacher, you can do that here. So I added Jim Gerber to my other class by typing in his email. And so you can add a teacher here. So like say you're working with a partner teacher, I can say I'm going to add Jim, and you just need their email, which you can look up in Google, right? And so you can add their email. He's not teaching this class with me, so I'm not going to add it. But that's how you add a teacher, and once you add a teacher, they can make changes to the page that you're using. So if you want to do that, you can do that. Now if you want to add your rosters, you go to Students here, and you go to Create Sections. All right, so one more time, I'll close it down. I went to Students, and this is in the roster section, and I went to Create Sections. All right, so I'm going to say OK because I want to create sections. And so now we have 2 sections here. If you want to add more, if you got 3 or 4, you go ahead and add them. But section A, and now I'm going to go to Import Students. And here's the part that I feel like is always tricky. Instead, you want to import from another roster, okay? And then you want to say only list my classes, otherwise you're going to see every class for everyone. And now you want to go to your current year. And I'm going to record this and make a YouTube video, so if if something gets lost in the mix, you can go back. Hopefully my voice will come through, but it should work fine. So now I go to search, and you can see my classes come up. Now here's the key. You have to kind of decode what they've put here. This means pre-calc, period 1, and the 1 here that goes with like your course code is semester 1. So if you look here, I have first period pre-calc, 5th, 7th, and then for some reason they didn't just put 8. I don't know why, but it's 2-7. So if you have a period 8, it's because we only had 7 periods before. So for some reason they called period 8 is 2-7. Regardless, I want to add my 6th period calculus, and I want to do it semester 1. So the 6 is here, and then the 1's here. You can see if you go down too far, you're adding second semester. I wouldn't recommend linking that. So then I'm going to go ahead and import this class. So I say to import it, and you just go with the link, because then if new students get added, it will add automatically. Every once in a while, you still have to import a student manually, which you can do that if you need to. But so I go ahead to import students. That's going to import the whole class. All right, so I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to go back to, so now I have one class, and that's my section A.
Does everybody see the little chain there?
Yeah, that means it's linked.
That means it's
Yeah.
actually linked to your thing. So
See?
that's important.
You can see it's linked to the class that they created. But this is nice because you don't have to worry about if you have 4 classes the same thing, you just add it on one page. You don't have to edit 4 times if you're going to do that. So, go ahead. Did you want to say something else, Steve?
No, the only other thing is that it's you have to do it at Christmas too because we're semester school.
Yeah.
So we all have to do this again.
It goes pretty fast though once you get used to it. So I'm going to go to section B and I'm going to add one more class. And I go again to import students, and then I go to import from another roster. And again, you only want to look at your classes and the current year. So 2021, and I hit search. So now I want to get my period 8 for Intro to Calculus. For some reason, is coded as 2.7. Don't know why they did that, but this is really period 8, and that's my first semester. So I go ahead and import, and then you go ahead and hit that. And now, when your students log on, they're going to go, instead of going to that blank class page, they will be directed right to your actual class. Another thing, too, is if you create a page, it's not going to automatically be active. Just meaning that if you want to edit a bunch of stuff and you don't want them looking at it, or like maybe you don't want this information because some of the kids are real like proactive, they'll start doing so I've had this happen where they start doing assignments that I posted ahead, and I'm like, no, don't do that yet. Like that's in 3 weeks. But if you want to have your page be inactive for now, you don't want to click on this. But once you want to make it active, you say make active, and then that.
No, wait. Sorry.
What?
Well, another way to get to that, your Excel. Go manage class, because we technically have to make it visible. Manage class.
Really bottom.
No.
Scroll down.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Go on. Right there.
Yeah, you can make it inactive
Well, no,
or
but
active.
make it inactive really quick to make it active again. Okay. Because technically, so when you make it active, hit make active. You have to make it to everyone on the web.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason is that so that parents can access your page, because our pages are going to be linked on like a master doc. So you do have to make it available and visible to anyone on the web.
I missed that.
Okay. Sorry. I'm learning too. Yeah, sorry. I didn't know that. I forgot about that. So, okay. And that way, you can always change this later on. It's not like this. It says forever. Nothing's forever. And this is definitely not forever either. So, so anyway, that's how you link classes. Okay. So now you got your class page. I'll get into like specifics on this in a second, but one other thing that's super helpful right now is being able to create rosters. If you want to print out a list of your students, and also if you want to print out a list with pictures, which I found super helpful because kids are walking in. There were 2 twins in one of my classes the first year, and I thought it was the same kid playing a trick on me for a while. Until I figured out that they're actually twins. I looked and saw their picture, and I was like, oh, they're identical twins. So let's see. So if you want to do that, there's a couple of ways to get to it. It's a little bit, I'll just show you the way I do it. Maybe there's a better way. But if you're going to like take attendance, again, you only want to really look at semester 1, so you can just select that. So if you're going to take attendance, it's a little weird. It kind of depends on where you're at, but you can see if I hit this, comes up this little attendance thing. All right, but this takes you to, do we call this unified classroom? To me, it's all the same.
Powerschool.
Okay, I mix up the names of whatever they are. But if you go to take attendance, right, I'll go back and do that one more time. So sometimes you'll get the little seat showing up. I don't know why it's not right now. But if not, you just hit this, and you can see the little blue attendance comes up. Oh, that's what it is. If you don't have class, the seat doesn't come up. So anyway, I'm gonna go in here and let's say I got my axis, right? And I wanna get a picture of each of their faces and then save it on a piece of paper, right? So, and I feel like this is super helpful, especially at the beginning. So you go to,
I'll be showing this tomorrow.
oh yeah, you go to start page. So you go to start, yeah, hold on. So you can select any class from here, even though I had Axis selected. So I'm gonna hit the printer. And once I go into the printer, you have like a bunch of options, okay? The only ones that I personally ever use, so it says, what would you like to print? I go to student photos, 25 per page. If you wanna mess with the other one, you can. I just always use this one. And it says there are 14 students in this class. And once you get to here, you're fine to hit submit. So you hit submit, and it's gonna create a little report right here. These are the ones that I've already created. And if it doesn't show up immediately, you can hit refresh. And so now you can hit view, and it's going to take you to a PDF of your class. So now I have my students. And now if you want to go print from here, you can go print. Or if you want to save, you can save and organize it and put it wherever, right? So I can now save this, and like I have my access already saved. All right, so now you have like each class.
Can I
Something else?
show one more thing?
Sure.
Go to
Just
the
so you know, tomorrow
Powerschool.
when we do Powerschool, we'll do that again.
When is that?
Tomorrow, I think it was supposed to be myself and Ashley showing you Powerschool.
Are you gonna do? Oh, can you go to Powerschool?
So some of that stuff I'll show you tomorrow.
Which one's Powerschool?
That one.
Yeah.
Are you gonna show student alerts and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was.
Student what?
Student alerts.
Oh.
I'm doing it right now. He's
I
gonna
think,
show it tomorrow.
today we just want to make sure that they have their unified classroom set up and linked. if they
Okay,
don't have it.
cool.
One other thing I wanted to show. Do you mind?
Go for it.
When you are doing grades, when it's getting towards the end or that you're trying to figure out what their score is, clicking analysis and looking at standards progress will give you their overall grade. No, there's nothing in there, but it'll show you in their overall grade at the top. It'll show you how many kids are in red, green, orange, yellow, blue, whatever. And then it'll break it down by cluster and what they got in each of the things. And the kids look at this. They're like, Miss, why do I have a B in 4.2? And then this way too, if you have kids that are like barely passing, you can see when you put their grade in, did it bring them to passing? It's just an easy like visual. Since we do deal with standards and not grades. So that was just a side.
Yeah, no worries.
The only other thing you didn't say was publish, unpublish.
A page? Yeah, I was going to show you that. Yeah, so, I mean, do you guys want to see also just how to get like a typed little list of students as well without pictures? Want to see that? Yes, okay. So one more then is if we're back in Powerschool here and we go and do the same way we did before, go to start page. And let's say I want to make a student list of this class. So instead of the one with photos, you're gonna go to, I like this one double space because I'm old school, and there's actually Luz Cortez has like old school grade books, and if you, Steve showed me this, if you do double space, you can like cut and paste the names right in and start using the grade book. I do it because I check in assignments like by hand. You don't have to do that obviously, but this is nice and useful for a different student list, and I always hit refresh, and usually once you do that, so now it's completed. And so if you look at this just gives me like a straight up student list. And like I said, that actually pastes in perfectly to the grade book if you want to use like a physical grade book. Yeah, I just got a new one today because I was using it during the pandemic when we were all like locked down and couldn't go into school. It was really helpful for me to like go through a kid's Google Drive and just manually check off they've done this assignment, they've done this one. So this is also a helpful class list. So like I just made a copy of everything for mine. Let's see, what else was I going to show you? Oh, the only other thing is like, if you do want to use your class pages, or maybe someone's already created one and it's like, it looks usable, there's a couple different things. Like, if you see this little sonar or whatever you want to call it, if that's in orange here, that means that's active. That means the students can see it. All of these ones here, that means the students cannot see it. So you can have all of your stuff set up, or you can set up things ahead of time and not make it active for the students. So when they go, like this is my pre-calc page, when they go, they're just going to see these 4 things. And so I made them kind of, you can make a page and then you can make a sub page. So these are sub pages of this one. So once you create a page, you start with an initial page, but then once you have some stuff, you can either put it at the bottom, or you can do as a sub page of, so welcome and announcements, I want to say demo page, right? So if I want to create this, I can put this here, and now it's going to generate a blank page, which is now right here, all right? And so once you have a blank page, a couple things if you want to manage that individual page, right? So you can look at the formatting, how you want it, page layout, page settings, but the page layout is kind of nice because depending on how you want to do it, like she was showing, like she was embedding some Google Docs. I found it helpful when I embed a Google Doc, like my syllabus, to have it in one column. You can do whatever you want, but you can always change this around, change it back. But that is in manage page, so you're like only managing this little sub page. So if you look on my welcome and announcements, I have a running calendar that is actually linked to my Google Docs. So I was just updating this today. So now this is all there for them to see. And if you just manage like this page, I have the layout managed as just one column. So that's something just a little simple, personal preference. And if you want to add content within your pages, she was kind of showing you this, but you have a bunch of options. You can just put in text. If you put files, you can also link the file, but you can also add text afterwards. So that's an option, and a lot of this is pretty user-friendly. Yeah, and trying to think of other things. I found it more useful to just put a link to a YouTube clip or put a link to something else rather than to embed it, because she's right. Like if they try to load it and it's not loading correctly, then no one can watch it.
The one thing, if you notice, mine had like birds and fun font or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. So
if you go to manage class, you can edit the theme.
My page looks like my classroom.
I don't know how to create my own theme. If you do that, let me know. But there are like all of these different themes that you can use. And they have all different colors, and like this one's a world. So there are some.
In a nutshell, unified classroom makes it look really pretty. That's one of my pet peeves with Google Classroom, is because it's very linear, right? You put down, this is what we're doing. You can do as much as you want, but it's all, there's no way of kind of putting it in different locations. Yeah.
This was great when I taught U.S. history.
That's why I like unified.
There's a
classroom.
sunset. So there's like some different options you can play around with. I do it too to like differentiate between classes, so I know which page I'm on. But those are all there.
But don't panic, your kids will do whatever you do. So
Yes.
I'm the grade 9 team leader. I would say half the people have Google Classroom, half of my team was using Unified Classroom, and they just know, okay, I'm walking into this class, we're going to do Google Classroom. Okay, I'm going into this class, so they don't forget.
Have any of you, who transitioned from this type of LMS to Google Classroom?
Yeah.
And how was it midstream in essence? Like,
yeah.
And how was it transition for you and for the students?
For me, it was in a pandemic. It was much easier. Just to,
And did students transition well?
yeah,
Okay.
I think so. I don't know if they transitioned well because of me. I think they transitioned well because there were other teachers already using Google Classroom. So I just jumped on board and started using it. But they already knew. They taught me, right? One of the things in Google, I'm not sure if you guys know this about Google Classroom, when you leave comments, they don't open it in a new window, they never see it.
Yeah.
That was frustrating. That took me a couple weeks to figure that out. Like if you leave your feedback on the sheet, and you give it back to them. Unless they open that feedback in a new window, they never see anything. So you can imagine that nobody told me that.
You spent hours.
I was making feedback. So there's a couple things here and there. But I'm assuming right now, what time is it? 3:15.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's about what I had. Yeah,
They want to probably be able to make their.
yeah. So you should.
We'll walk around. And help. Anything else?
This was super helpful. I know that, like, for me, a lot of the stuff you said about grading, like, I will never.
Well, that's why I didn't go into the semester ends.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say, like, if maybe you'd be willing to.
Yeah.
Once we have some idea of how.
Yeah.